Welcome to the Daily Injection Program, show number 5, and I'm doing this on March 22nd, and we're going to air it on March 23rd. So many things have happened over the weekend. I have all my notes here as to what I want to accomplish on this very short 10-minute program, and we've released a new special report that has to do with everything that has happened over the weekend because it's so much stuff packed. I really want to get going on the silver and gold shortages that we're experiencing. So make sure that you go to wealthresearchgroup.com/over because the manipulation in the COMEX is definitely over. And that's going to show a lot of graphs and charts as to what I'm talking about. Plus, it's going to have the personal information, including the mobile phone and the email of my personal bullion dealer. And I don't have any affiliation with him. He's never done me wrong. And so I wanted to make sure that everyone has the opportunity, if they need to go through him if you're looking for precious metals. Because look, the numismatics, which we've highlighted many months ago, that they had no premium over the Eagles and the Maples, they're now trading at $300 above the spot price for gold. And the Eagles and the Maples are trading about $100 to $150 above, and that's before you consider delivery delays of about 30 to 60 days. And maximum orders have come down substantially. So when I made my last order, it was about $50,000 worth. And man, you cannot get any bullion dealer to allow that now. They have a maximum of like $2,000 or $5,000, something that's really we're talking about a few ounces. So that's one thing I want to talk about, and that's going to be big. And that's before we even talk about the mine closures. So a lot of mines are going to shut down. You're going to see a lot of disruption. So the way I'm playing this is I'm using the silver options market to capitalize that. Now, I've only done that about 4 times in the past 6 to 7 years. So I can tell you it's a very rare event that I make such a concentrated wager bet that silver prices are heading higher. But I'm telling you that's my analysis personally right now. So secondly, I want to talk about habits and self-discipline really quickly. In terms of personal development, this is a time where you're quarantined, you're in your house throughout most of the day. 1 billion people worldwide, 85 million people in the US, and this is going to just escalate. They're thinking about doing a full-on quarantine where I'm at right now, and not even let people go out for sports or for a jog or a run with your dog or to the pharmacy, etc. It's going to be a total shutdown, like we see now in Italy, and in some of these documentaries that I've seen on China, where they literally locked your door with hammers and nails. So wealthresearchgroup.com/me is a PDF report with 16 principles that are basically my religion. I read them every morning and every night, and definitely now when you really want to make sure your head is zoned in, because whoever's going to be able to bounce quick from this will have a very big advantage over the other parts of the population. And I want to talk about bouncing quick because here in Israel, they're starting to look at releasing people into society, not now, but in the next few weeks here, that have a natural antidote to the coronavirus. So they're going to start looking, they're already looking at whether or not some people are just immune to this and can be released to society. And then what's the advantage of taking the blood samples out of them and creating an antidote for the mass population? So great news on that, and I'll have more developments. I know that in America, they're looking to speed up drugs that were previously or currently are used for malaria and other types of coronaviruses that are not, this novel one, COVID-19. So we covered that in this. I want to talk about democracy versus dictatorship real quick, because here we have this country, China, with a state-owned communications. So everything's monitored. They know everything you do. But then on the flip side, when it comes to these events, the discipline that the citizenry is exemplifying because of the fear, because of the threat that the government, you don't want to mess with them, they've been able to quarantine 400 million people for almost 2 months in Wuhan and other areas. And I think what's happening right now, Europe is seeing that their lack of discipline, especially in Italy, in the first few days, is costing them lives. And now you will start seeing where people are saying, I am going to be socially responsible. I'm not going to do anything because I want to protect you, mom, you, grandma. And it's already starting. So you're going to see a lot of accountability, and you don't want to end up in the news. So make sure whatever you do it responsibly, because you are actually, if you're doing something that's going to cause compromise to somebody else, not just health issues. We had a woman here that had the corona or has the corona, went, despite having the corona, went to get her hair done, and the barber ended up on TV because you have to close it down, you have to sanitize the whole thing, and who wants to go there now, right? So be accountable to that. Now, I want to talk about how they're financing this, all the governments. So in the US, what I think will happen is, because it's a powerhouse, it will have a 50-year bond that the government will issue with a zero interest coupon. I think that's one thing that they're going to work on. They already are working on a $2 trillion package. Now, $2 trillion is, well, as we know, it's the size of Google and Microsoft together pre this crisis, or the size of Apple and Amazon together pre this crisis. It's huge. And then, because think about how many years it takes to build an Amazon or Microsoft or a Google or an Apple. And then if you want to translate it to GDP, that's about 10% of US GDP. It's a huge number, and it's important to see how governments are going to start doing this. So the bailouts might not be bailouts, they might be loans. Second thing, they might be the companies that are helping the federal government, they're taking a hit. For example, companies that are refitting their manufacturing floors to do respirators or hospital beds or medical equipment, where they're not doing that, they will get tax benefits down the road. So we can incentivize more companies to do that. So tax benefits, I think, are going to be big. Loans are going to be big. So the government will lend money to individuals and not just give them helicopter money. They will have constraints to go along with it. I think bailouts will come at a price as well. So the companies will not be able to do buybacks. Perhaps the worker compensation is going to be bigger, whereas the executive compensation is going to be smaller. A lot of things are going to change with corporate America after what's happening around the world. So that's another thing. Unemployment is already skyrocketing anywhere. And with that comes the fear of social riots, disorder. And I think one thing you're going to see more of is police patrolling the streets, perhaps the National Guard, the Army. So those are things that are happening. And what we're seeing as well is that one of the biggest takeaway lessons from everything that's going on is that bonds are problematic, because here you have a situation where stocks have sold off along with bonds. We've seen the biggest ever outflow out of bonds. Nobody's even buying the T-bills, the treasuries. Everyone wants cash. So I think that's a hyperdeflation moment. And remember, hyperdeflation is always going to be followed by some reflation. So that's big, and that's coming. So you will see a lot of false starts. Do not get duped for these false starts. The bottom, everyone wants the bottom, right? So the bottom, when will it come? Nobody knows the date, because obviously only the day after do we know that the bottom was yesterday. But what we do know is financial news right now is all about this. And as long as it's in the news, it will not bottom. 2009, 2011, 2016, 2001, 87. If you look and analyze the news flow in any major global financial event, when it starts to diminish in the news and then eliminated from the news, that's the first indicator that you're going to reach a bottom. Then, when it's not even an item on regular talks, everyone's just done. I don't want to hear Wall Street. I don't want to hear about it. Then you got the bottom, and then you can start safely. So if you're sitting on a lot of cash, just take it easy. Wait for opportunity. When we're talking about the traditional markets, Obviously, if you're looking at the short positions, there have been some absolutely obvious ones. Carnival Cruise, Norwegian Cruise Lines, MGM Resorts. These are all great short positions, down 70, 80% in 1 month gap. The clothing manufacturer down about 65%, 70%. All these oil companies that Halliburton, the one that's famous for Dick Cheney, it's down like 65 to 70%. Great short positions opportunities. I think most of them are Boeing, obviously. I think most of them are going to get exhausted real soon because the federal government will bail out a lot of these companies, a lot of these industries. With the caveat, they're not going to be able to do dividends and buybacks and all that kind of stuff. It's a new world that we live in, and it's a new corporate America. Just know that, because you need to think about that. The bailout. So in terms of QE5 in the first week of it has been $307 billion. That's twice the entire QE program of 2008, which was 160 billion. So what we're looking at is an unprecedented around the world. It's just the United States. It's Europe. It's where I'm at right now. It's everywhere. These packages are drowning everyone in government loans and debt and fiat currency, and that's going to be the most important critical factor at where all that money will go, where all this cash that everyone has now will go. That's where the next bubble is. That's where the next economic boom is. So think about that, because I'm obviously thinking about that all the time. The last thing I want to talk about is compassion and everything that's going on right now in between people, between families, neighborhoods, friends, etc. In my building, we've put in the lobby, we've put a big giant sticker, and people can fill out. Mostly the elderly that are in higher risk groups and don't want to leave the house. If they are lacking something in the house, if they need help, then they put their number, their apartment number, and contact information, and you can reach out to them and help them. We're seeing a lot of compassion around the world, and that's great. That's obviously one of the better things that are happening with this crisis, and hopefully it will last much more than the crisis. The world really has shown a great part of it. If you just talk with other people, you see a lot of stories where I know the horror stories. I know that people are fighting over toilet paper. I know that people are buying 60 to 70 pounds of chicken when they go to the grocery store. But listen, don't just look at the negative, because there's so much great compassionate stories about people helping other people, companies that are waiving subscription fees. This reminds me a lot about personal story that I've heard from my own grandparents about life in the ghetto, for example, in World War II, but where they tried to keep it normal and sane, and they did get donations all the time from the outside. So you're seeing a great aspect of the human race, and hopefully we'll get more of it. And that's something to really think about. This crisis is going to lead to better relationships, hopefully globally, and financially, it will lead to incredible opportunities. Just incredible opportunity. Just think about the amount of fiat money that's in the system right now, that's going to appear in the system later, and do not try to point a finger and say that's wrong, because you will probably not be able to create change with the fiat monetary system, changing it back to a gold standard. You're better off living your own life and investing accordingly to what's happening. So wealthresearchtube.com/over is the new report. I think it's a must read. It talks about the silver and gold shortages that are coming and that are already delaying inventory. It talks about the $2 trillion stimulus plan, or economic relief plan from Kudlow and all the people in the Hill. And it goes into detail as to what's happening with the dollar, because it's so unique. We've never seen anything like it in history. /V1, /V2, and /virus are our previous ones. /checkmate. So wealthresearchtube.com/checkmate is about Trump's management of crisis in his own life, because he's been bankrupt several times over. So check that out. That's a fascinating one. And if you want to look at my own personal 16 principles that I live by, it's wealthresearch.com/me. We will see you tomorrow, and I'm going to release an important update as to some of the things that I believe will happen this week in America, where we will go into a quasi martial law. Thank you very much for watching today.